on with our YouTube audience live and in living color. Let me make sure all this stuff is working on YouTube too, just to make sure. How you doing, Coop?
Doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. Traveling again. I'm out here in the Midwest, and I should be back in Atlanta next week, man. I was really sick that I missed that whole Kanye West event, man. I'm glad you were able to represent for the team. We're gonna get to those reactions. And anybody have any questions here in the chat, just put them in the chat so we can ask Coop. But I got some questions about. Let's see. Oh, yep, people getting the alert now. I got some questions about the event and how everything took place. Please start off however you would like, sir.
No, I mean, like, tell me what you want to know exactly, Mike, because there are actually a lot of things to unpack.
Okay. Well, first off, how was the album from just your expectations and just your first experience hearing the record? How was the album?
For the most part, I thought the album was pretty dope, Mike.
Okay.
There was a lot of dope material on there, and so I probably feel like I heard about 6 or 7 songs where I was like, oh, okay,
Okay.
like that's not Ye, that's Kanye West,
Well, how
you
many
know.
songs in all are we talking about?
Hmm?
How many songs in all would you
I
say?
mean, like it was really hard to keep track because also he dropped some of the interludes with his mother, which I thought were really touching and are gonna like if those interludes with his mother are put together properly, and I was saying this, I felt like I heard tracks that rivaled and or were better than what we heard on "Call Me If You Get Lost" from Tyler's album,
Okay.
and and so the construct of the album has the makings of an album of the year contender, definitely.
Okay,
I did.
so he's tying a lot of this stuff in together with interludes containing his mother. Like,
Yeah.
what are those? Like, just regular conversations, or they
Oh
tie
yeah,
into the songs?
just spoken word interludes. I believe it's his mother. It's like actually somebody who was like behind me was like, yeah, like that's his mom talking. I was
Wow.
like, oh, I was like, oh, okay.
So you don't think all of the stuff that you heard is actually gonna make it?
I don't know that, and that's because of the ending reaction to the project. In my estimation,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that the last maybe 3 to 4 songs really didn't hit as hard as like those first 7, 8, 9 songs. Like just
Mm-hmm.
based on crowd reaction.
Do you think
Here's your
maybe the
smart
crowd
dude.
was? Do you think those songs were weaker? Or you think the crowd was just, you know how it is, like when the energy builds up in the building
Yeah,
initially,
no, no, no.
and it was
I mean, you go,
deflated.
you're gonna have some drop off.
Right.
Just because you've been there for a minute and the momentum of things. That's natural. I did, and maybe it was sequencing as well, could be, but it
Mm-hmm.
just didn't feel like the songs gravitated towards you or hit you as hard, especially as some of the earlier stuff. And I want to say this too. Kanye kind of used us here as a good litmus test. Like
Mm-hmm.
what I heard, like hip hop wise, was somebody like trying to tap back into the culture more, but also push it forward at the same time because he's innovative like that. And so he probably looked at the city of Atlanta as a good litmus test of that because Mike, this is Black Hollywood. You
Right.
know,
Right.
and so like he kind of used us, and we wanted to be used. And Joe. So based on that reaction, I think the reaction that the crowd gave towards the end could have something to do with why we haven't heard this album yet.
Right, and
And
I'm looking forward to us hearing the complete album, and that's why even listening to what you have to say right now is even more powerful, because from our offline conversation earlier, you expressed the fact that you think that a lot of these songs aren't going to make it. I think you just said that about the ones that were towards the end. We saw Two Chains post in the arena that day. Uh, recording something. More than likely it was something for the Donda album. We also saw that Jay sent the verse at 4 p.m. that day. So maybe this was a listening party in a traditional sense, or a listening event in a traditional sense, where, like you said, he's kind of checking the temperature of the audience and saying, okay, these are the songs I need to keep. These are the songs I don't need to keep. Some of these songs I need to tweak a little bit.
Right.
Right, right, right.
Engineering wise, this is music head stuff, and I know that we're still in the stadium. I can
Mm-hmm.
hear that some of these songs still need to be cleaned a little bit, like
Right.
audio, sound quality wise. So that could be part of the hold up as well. But yeah, Mike, like I feel like if you were to tell me right now what this album is going to sound like based on what I heard, I would tell you that if he's like on top of his game, and he usually is, especially when it comes to the executive production side of things, and
Right.
he's taking time to do all of this, I only think we're gonna hear about 7 to 8 of those tracks.
And you think we have, from what I'm hearing from you, you think we have the framework for a really, really good album.
Oh no, no, no! The framework for a really good album is there. Like there's just we spoke to this offline, Mike. No hip hop producer in history got Ye on the stadium flow, Mike.
I was gonna ask you about production. Like, can you speak to like production on the project?
From what I heard, Mike, it sounds like some next shit. It
Mm.
sounds like production wise, it sounds like what he wanted to do on Yeezus, but he
Yeah.
actually like did it right this time. It sounds like,
Sounds like new and
and
improved version of what he was trying to do on Yeezus.
yeah, there's some gospel importations in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, what I heard was somebody that kind of touched on all his spectrums a little bit from what I heard production wise, and what I was really surprised by, like Mike, you got some shit with some knock to it.
I was gonna ask you that too. Like, what are some of the
No,
standout moments? Like, what are the stand of the whole event? Like, what were some of the standout moments?
the intro with him and Pusha T on the back and forth, Mike, was pretty.
So you're pretty clear that that's the intro, right? Or is that
If it not, it need to be, Mike.
okay? It was just the first song you played. Michael Sanders says, "Love y'all content. Keep up the good work. Appreciate that, man." But yeah, so it was the first song he played. So he came out to the Pusha T back and forth.
Yeah, Mike, he did a lot. That wasn't actually like the first song. He actually came in with like a gospel type of intro,
Okay.
you know.
Did he
So, but
talk in between any of them? Like, kind of introduce any of
yeah.
the records and stuff?
No, there really wasn't no introduction, Mike. It was track to track. It's like you just had to catch it. It's like this is what I mean about the crowd is like when Lil Durk, the track with Lil Durk, when that came on, it's like I was trying to catch who it was. It's so loud, the place is jumping. Somebody was like, "That's Lil Durk." I was like, okay, got it. Let's
Okay.
go. Some people were more discernible. It's like Pusha's voice, Hope's voice. Lil Baby's voice at this point. That was one of those surprising things too. And it's like, Mike, I know we're in Atlanta, but Lil Baby has grown to the point that he has a distinctive voice. So when he comes on, you know exactly who it is.
Oh, definitely. Darren P says, when is Donda dropping? Thought it was dropping today. Yeah, we just kind of covered that where it's like we're all looking for it. It can literally drop any minute now. But what Coop was saying from the event that he was at yesterday in Atlanta, or last night in Atlanta, it sounded like Kanye was tweaking some things just based on the audience's reaction to the record. So you said he played about 12 records, right? And so
Like it, yeah.
about 12 records. And towards the end, you said the crowd was kind of not, it wasn't, you said that these kind of faltered off a little bit, right? You think these are going to be some records that he's going to tweak a little bit and keep it? Or you think these records are, he's totally going to just leave off of it?
See, now I don't want to get too far ahead of myself for
Okay.
clarity purposes. So let me unpack a couple things for me personally about how I feel about Kanye's catalog. For me, Mike, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy is his third best album, and it's his third best album mostly about what I feel like is a drop off in the records at the last 3-4 songs on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, as opposed to the first 8, 9, 10 songs you hear. I felt comparable to that. And I'm not saying this album is comparable to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, because that album is still a classic and a great piece of work. But I felt that same sort of kind of like drop off with the material at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I would relate it to. Like, that's why I'm like, no, the music is there. Tweak. Because that was my thing with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. It's like, don't tell me those last 3 or 4 songs are as good as those first 8, 9 songs. Like, they're not.
I never was a big fan of Blame Game. I never was a big fan of Lost in the World, but people like those records. And
like I told you, people swear by those records. Those records are solid.
No, they are. They are solid. They're not, dark fantasy, or they're not power.
They're not power. It's not so appalled. It's not gorgeous. No.
Right.
It's
Right.
not all of the lights. Like Lost in the World don't got nothing on all of the lights. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Kanye West has entered the chat. It said, "Fix your mic. I can't hear you." All right, Kanye. Let's check this out real quick just to make sure that we're good.
I can hear you fine, Mike.
Okay. I hear myself fine. If you could turn yourself up maybe a little bit, that might be what they're talking about. But yeah.
I can get closer, but I'm all the way up.
Okay, yeah. Get a little bit closer. But yeah, I agree. Lost in the World, Blame Game. You know what I really did like on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy? I liked Hell of a Life. That's one of those records that people forget is on there. It sounds really different than the rest of the album to me, just the way he approached it. But I like that record. It might not have been the best fit on that album, but I like that record.
I like that record too. Production wise, I thought it was more Graduation influence and inspired.
So you got College Dropout, Graduation, and then My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy?
No. I have Late Registration, College
I'm
Dropout.
sorry.
My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, and then Graduation.
Okay, so you got Late Registration, you said first, right?
Numero uno.
Okay. You know what? Late Registration is actually my favorite. And I think we've probably discussed this on the show before because he's just so much of a better MC. But
Mike, the production's better too.
Oh, it is. It is.
And so is the content.
It is.
And so is the song sequence.
Crack music is crazy. I don't know about the song sequence though. I don't know. And the one thing that I will give College Dropout credit for is the fact that you think about an album that was recorded over like nearly a 5-year span of time probably. And for it to sound that together, that's not easy to do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Late Registration all was recorded around the same time. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you some style points for that. Mike,
yeah.
Because you have a valid point when you say that. But the College Dropout don't play as seamlessly as Late Registration. It just doesn't, Mike. It goes from the Bernie Mac intro to Heard 'Em Say to Touch the Sky to Gold Digger.
I think We Don't Care What People Say is a better intro, personally. I don't know, man. I think what it is, man, like...
The intros are a tie. The intros on College Dropout and on Late Registration are a tie.
College Dropout has a soulfulness about it that none of his other albums have. And I think that is like one of those... It's an intangible. It's an album that has an intangible that none of his other albums have. You don't have Family Business on any other album.
No, it has a feel, Mike. College Dropout is his album that has that feel, that has a classic feel. That's the one that feels classic when you listen to it. But Late Registration is just a superior project, like almost at every turn, production-wise, hit-wise, beat-wise. Maybe not hit-wise because Jesus Walks, but I mean, he just upped the ante. He upped the ante and he delivered. So
Gold Digger's a huge hit. We got Mr. Positive Vibes in here. Shout out to you. Says producer, Digital Nas confirms that Donda is dropping tonight. He's at the Hawk Stadium right now. So. Sounds like it's been a big announcement that Donda's dropping tonight. Sounds like Kanye may have made those necessary tweaks. And what I wanted to ask you too, and I know this question was on the table for me, what did you think about the Jay-Z feature? Are people blowing it up too much? Or was it impressive live? What was your experience with it when you heard it last night in the arena?
So Mike, all jokes aside, was going to the bathroom when the record started playing and literally came out of the bathroom. And as I'm walking out the bathroom, I'm like, hold up. What? So I stood outside and waited because actually it's better to wait in the alleyways and the hallways of the stadium than to go in the stadium and listen because I could hear Hove more clearly from right there. So I just stood there outside the bathroom for a minute and listened to the verse. And the verse is dope. But, I mean, it was one of those, that's what I mean, like, and we gonna talk about this, like, Kanye so big, like, Ye so big, Mike, it's like people looking at the moment, because it's like, I'm listening to the verse, but I'm hearing people inside.
Yeah.
Like 20, 30 feet away from me, and they going ape shit just because it's Hov. I don't even know if they heard the verse, Mike.
Right. I mean, speaking of which, what you say, that Kanye is the biggest rapper in the game.
Mike,
Hold on, people are saying it again. They said cut his mic up. Whose mic needs to be cut up? Coop on the left or myself on the right?
Yo,
Yeah. You here? You here? Do
I'm
you?
about to say, am I here?
Yeah. I hear you very well. Let me see if there's anything I could do to cut you up on my end. But yeah,
Yeah, I'm all the way up on all frequencies over here. Like I can't. Yeah, I can't get no high.
Okay, it could be me. Let me see, because I know the microphone's all the way back there. Is that any better? It said Coop on the left. You know what? How about you do this, Coop? Can you change over to your MacBook's microphone?
Not without having to like reset the system because of
Well,
the
never mind.
plugins.
Don't do
Yeah,
that. Let me see if we can cut you up on
in
this
that
end.
15-minute process. I mean, I'll just.
Okay, yeah, talking to the mic. All right, but yeah, would you say that Kanye West is the biggest star in music? Period.
So, Mike, one of the most striking things about what I saw yesterday was an influx of different ethnicities and races that came out
They say
last
you
night.
sound great, by the way. You sound great now. They say.
Okay, that's
All right.
perfect. We can leave it like this then.
All right.
But the ethnicities and races and masses of people that I seen, like I really sat back and said to myself, Mike, I was like, yo, like Ye is major. Like he done touched everybody, Mike. He done touched everybody some type of way. Like you know what, Mike, you know what rap shows are like down here, even if they're in the state.
No, real.
It's us. It's us, Mike.
Yeah.
And yesterday was everybody, and that's about Ye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, and for somebody, and it's interesting, like when you see the mainstream media mostly saying that a person's canceled or they're not dealing with this person, this and that, the streets feel different, obviously. And it's interesting to see that stuff live and in living color, because those are things that the magazines, or let's just say the media, the publications, the huge outlets can't sit there and mask. You sat there and saw real people, real reactions. It wasn't no hype. It was just real people there.
Like Mike, when he came out, the place was literally shaking. There wasn't no damn DJ, Mike.
No DJ at all.
Wasn't no DJ. The place was shaking when he came out. Like you, what? Like that's major.
I mean, it is what it is. So I think Kanye West is the biggest star in music. Is Kanye West bigger? Is Kanye West bigger than Drake?
Mike,
currently.
If we're talking, no, Mike. If we're talking about the full spectrum of having like a fan base, there hasn't been a hip hop artist in history that's like touched the spectrum that he touched. And Mike, I saw it live yesterday. Like I saw people that I know would not come out or feel comfortable coming out that was coming out about Ye. I mean, Mike, it was serious. Let me tell you about the dude sitting next to me, Mike. The dude sitting next to me was in black leather pants and like a black, like he looked like Ye from Late Registration, like from the Diamonds Sierra Leone video. Like that's how he was dressed. And Mike, from the moment that Ye came out, this dude took his phone, turned it up, hit record, and that dude didn't move or say a word, Mike. It was that serious.
What Kanye has been able to do, he has been able to transcend generations.
I can believe that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I kept looking at fam. I was like, fam ain't gonna move either. He gonna stay like this until this is done.
I mean, he's done what, dare I say, the people who have the longevity. Let's just look at it like this: people who have longevity in hip hop, we got Snoop Dogg, right? You got LL Cool J, you got Nas, you got Jay.
Yeah.
And what he's done, face. Yes, I can't. You know, and I guess I'm speaking more so on a mainstream level per se,
right?
Because we're talking about just being huge, and we'll throw Eminem in there too, right? He's been around a long time. What Kanye?
I'm proud of you, Mike, I'm proud of you. You're growing. You're growing. Not including Eminem in the conversation. You're growing. I want to speak to your growth. All right.
But yes.
Proceed.
Even with that, Kanye's done some things that those guys haven't been able to do. Is the fact that he's been able to change himself up, similar to a De La Soul, outcastic type of artistic way of meaning something different to different generations. You have those first three packages of Kanye West, or maybe we could say first. No, I'm gonna say first three. That means something to a certain generation, right? The college dropout, yay. Late registration, yay. Graduation, yay. Boom, that's a cutoff. Next era of yay.
That's our yay, Mike. That's
Yeah,
our yay.
right. Next era, you got the 808s and Heartbreaks. You got the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, yay. It's another cutoff. Boom. Then you got the Yeezus. Then you got somebody said, no, Eminem shouldn't be mentioned. He is not for us. Listen, man, I don't even want to go down
Here
that.
we go. We're not doing this today. We're not doing this today the first time on YouTube. We're not having the Eminem.
Oh, listen. Let me make it clear, Michael Sanders. I think Eminem is the most overrated MC of all time. So, yeah, you're preaching to the choir. I feel you. But I will say he's been around since 1998, 99-ish. So I got to give him longevity points. And that's 20 plus years. But what Ye's been able to do is he's been able to mean something different for different generations. I think we have not only just what he's been able to do as an artist, but what he's been able to do as a producer. And I think he's a huge influence on the change that we saw in Lil Wayne, right? 808s and Heartbreaks kind of birthed a whole new generation. 808s and Heartbreaks birthed Drake's career, whether Drake fans want to admit that or not. It did. It created that space. It allowed
all
that space.
Happy shit. All that happy shit.
And, and when all that happy shit, no, I agree. And, even though he won't admit it either, J. Cole's career was birthed through Ye to a degree. It is what it is. That whole school theme, come on now. That whole sideline story, and come on now.
Valid point. I'm gonna let you have that.
That's
Ye. That's valid. No, that's valid.
Ye made that school thing cool. You know what I'm saying? And that is a lane that Cole ran through.
So, Mike, I'm gonna tell you what he really did. It's not even he made school cool. Ye's the first regular dude.
Exactly.
To really make it to the level that he made it to. All the other regular dudes never made it to Ye's level. Like everybody else that Ye standing next to, they either street dudes or they got some sort of special story, or they're just like specially gifted. May even have a story too. So like he kind of stands alone. Like in that room of those guys, he kind of stands alone in that sense. Like he's a regular guy from the suburbs of Chicago. Like and
he never fronted. He
was wearing polos and Levi's like everybody else. You know what I'm saying?
He never had to, inflate any type of street credibility or any of that. Can we say that Kanye West is the first major success in hip hop where you got a guy who used his first name and last name, birth name? Because even Tupac had to, hype it up with the number 2, and change it up phonetically. This man went in there with his regular name, where everybody had stage names.
Mike Nas is Nas. He just didn't go by his last name. So,
but you know what I mean, kind of like Michael Jackson or something. You know what I'm saying?
Like a pop star would.
Yeah,
no,
you know what I mean. Like
he didn't come in the game on no modeling shit.
Right. Because you got Jermaine Cole, right? You got Kendrick Lamar. Ye made it cool to be yourself. Yes, that's what Darren P says. Yes, Ye made it cool to be yourself.
There we go. And that's an appropriate way of putting it.
And I love Cass because really, when I was growing up in in Atlanta, Georgia in the '90s, I felt like that about Cass. And that's why I really drew to Andre, because he made it cool to be yourself, even though he was still finding himself. But even when they came out the gate, you had them, they had them in front of the projects rapping on Get Up, Get Out and all that. Ye didn't have to do any of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was himself from the jump. First single, Mouth Wire Shut, with, talking about his accident.
No, Mike, he's different. He was different from the jump. He's the first guy to like make that jump. There's a whole lane
that exists. Like Mike, you're right. Like Drake's not here and J. Cole's not here without like Ye, because they are regular guys like Ye.
Mm-hmm. And and I think that's making a long story short, I think that's why his longevity has been different, and that's why you see all walks of life, because people can see themselves in this person, and he says a lot of things that other rappers don't say. He's a regular dude. And he doesn't have like these superhuman rap skills either. But he's still able to make really dope, relatable music.
His rap skills are above average.
He's kind of like Tupac in that sense. Is that disrespectful? He's kind of like Tupac in that sense, where it's like, we know Tupac wasn't no super MC, but I think that was really why a lot of people felt where he was coming from. He was direct with it. You know what I'm saying? Similar to Ice Cube. Like when Ice Cube says something.
No. Ice Cube's a lyricist, Mike.
He's a great storytelling MC, and I think I'm not knocking that, but we're not gonna sit here and act like Ice Cube is like Wu-Tang level lyricist, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying.
Like maybe not Wu-Tang.
That's what I mean.
But high, like him and Face, like Mike. Like I said, they're not like Nas or Big or Rocky M lyrically, but lyrically on par enough and have the voice, the abilities, the intangibles that they're there with those guys. So like nobody's saying like Ice Cube's not going to give you no verse from Triumph, Mike, but the verse from Straight Outta Compton is one of the best rap verses ever too. It's just not Triumph, but like that's what I'm saying. Like he there is a lyricist though.
No, of course, and I'm not saying that to knock anything. I think sometimes when you're able to tone down the lyrical miracle stuff, you hit people on a different level.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. And I think that really helps Kanye too.
Actually, Mike, I mean, it kind of works one or two ways. It's like you're either supreme at that lyrical miracle stuff, or you have to tone it down to get your point across. You're either supreme at it or you're not.
Michael Sanders says, I mean, Kanye don't write his music. We can't put him in the conversation. I don't believe that, though. Because who's writing Kanye's stuff? I don't believe that. Like, I don't believe Kanye didn't write Through the Wire. I don't believe... Like, these songs sound like him speaking. Like, the way he talks, it sounds like him.
Right. Roses, flashing lights, hurt... No, that's Ye.
Yeah, I mean, who else writes this personal? I mean, it ain't Consequence, because we've heard him and Consequence on the same songs, respectfully, but Ye comes off different.
Right. I know it's past visiting hours. Can I please give her these flowers? Like, come on, man. Like, no, didn't nobody stop that.
Who wrote the dark skin Michael Jackson, light skin Michael Jackson? Like, who else would say
that? Like, come on. He's the only one bold enough to say that.
He's the only one. Oh, he means his later stuff. Well, yeah, we do know that Saha the Prince, kind of helped pen some things. But again, we don't say these things about Dr. Dre or whatever,
Mike,
you know?
No, Mike. The stuff that we're going to remember, didn't nobody pen.
I was going to say, his most memorable and best performances were
his best stuff is him.
Because I don't think he even had any help on My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I could be wrong. Because
maybe Push, because that's when Push came into the fold. But
Saha was in the fold too.
Push. But none of that stuff sounds like Push. You know, Push coming off Hell Hath No Fury. Like, Push kind of rap different than Ye.
Yeah. I don't think Push helped him with too much. I think just content-wise, they don't really mesh on that level. I don't know. Power doesn't sound like Saha to me. I think Saha's help sounds more so in The Life of Pablo, maybe.
When he on Gorgeous, and what's a black beetle anyway?
A fucking roach.
That's why they got me in fucking Coach. That's Ye, man. That's Ye.
My guy said I need a different approach. He's looking at me like I'm sniffing Coke. It's not funny anymore. Try
different jokes.
Tell him hug and kiss my ass. Exit.
Oh, that's Ye.
Yeah, that's Kanye. And play strings while you're at it. No, he's like, kiss the ring while you're at it. Play strings for the dramatic. Call up in that rap shit. Act like I ain't got a belt in 2 classes. If I ain't got it, I'm coming after whoever who has it. Yeah, that's Ye. I mean, because he talks like this. Who has that kind of a brother?
That's good. Fantastic.
Right. Because
Ye.
he has these tongue-in-cheek rhymes that's like, if they
It's
weren't delivered in a certain way, if Jay said a lot of the stuff that Ye said, we'd be like, yo, that's corny. But Ye can do it. I mean, he has.
It's the reference point of who it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
It matters who it's coming from. Jay's a hustler. He can't talk like that and it come across well.
Once again, it's the gift in being yourself. See, when you go out there on some, with your chest out and you got this aura where, you too cool to do this and that, you limit yourself.
No, you don't limit yourself. You open yourself up to the critique more when you step outside of that box.
Right.
That's why it's good not to have them.
It is. And once again, when you talk about a box, and I'll go back to Andre because he's one of those few people who has really been accepted for his consistent changing. But Outkast lets you know from the jump, boom, we're gonna be changing. Like you're not gonna get this album again. And I think that that's important to do. And you have to do that kind of stuff early. But I think Ye broke down that barrier where a bunch of artists, really talented people, believe that they could do it.
Mike, you don't have to do it early. You have to do it well.
Mm-hmm.
It worked for Outkast not because they did it early. It worked because they did it well. It worked for De La because they did it well. It worked for Tribe.
It didn't work for Common.
You gotta do it well.
It didn't. I would say this, and I'll say Common because he's another one in that sphere that kind of changed. And once again, another person that's benefited from Ye's genius. His first album, he was rapping like, pretty much what was going on at the time. Can I borrow $1? Resurrection, that sounds like him, I guess, for what we know. And I think that the third album, that was like a bumped up, new and improved version of Resurrection. One Day It'll All Make Sense. And then you got like Water for Chocolate, which I'm starting to feel like outside of B might have been his best effort.
It is his best effort outside of B. Let's speak to Common right quick. He came around like in 91, so his rap style used to be really, really fast.
Right.
You hear it on Resurrection, even though it's toned down, and he's kind of caught his flow more.
Right.
But you really don't hear the Common that everybody hears until One Day It'll All Make Sense.
Right.
And you hear him put it together all the way until like Water for Chocolate. And it's rare, Mike. It's rare in hip hop that somebody puts it all the way together on their fourth album.
Rare. And then he went out and was like, look, I want to change it up. And Electric Circus happened. And I think that Electric Circus isn't as terrible as people make it
Mike,
seem.
It's not terrible. That shit not dope either.
But what I was going to say, just based on what you just said, and like I said, like Water for Chocolate has aged so well to me. I think it probably is his second best effort, in my opinion. I used to feel like third or fourth, but with that being said, that was the problem. You were getting somewhere, and then you said, no, I'm going to go all the way off. That wasn't the time to do that.
Went up, and then he stopped. That's why he lost everybody, because it's like, man, you done took us somewhere. We done followed your journey.
Mm-hmm.
Then you did the Electric Circus, and that's why B is so important. And Finding Forever is probably his third best album.
You think Finding Forever is better than One Day It'll All Make Sense? And Resurrection?
Yes.
That's a conversation for a whole nother day.
No. 2 words, Mike, and it's the guy who this show is about. Kanye West. The production is better. The production is better on Finding Forever than One Day It'll All Make Sense, and that's because of who? Kanye West.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, I think B is by far his best effort.
Hip hop classic of a high order.
It really is, man. It really is, and it's
classic of a high order. It's a high order hip hop classic.
And it was like, I wish that we would hear more about those sessions and what that was like. And you think about what was going on at the time with the Chappelle Show and how Chappelle's show was so hip hop. You had Mos Def on there all the time, and when they came and did the food, you knew something. You knew something special was going to happen.
So Mike, for me, Kanye is important to me. Even listening to Common again,
and
I'm gonna tell you why. Because Get 'Em High from the College Dropout.
Oh yeah, that was the setup.
Was the setup for the food, and that's when I bought in. Because I remember telling my cousin Mario. I was like, "Yo, come back," and I played Get 'Em High for him in my car, and he not all the way back. His flow not all the way back yet. And then the food came out, and I'm like, no, okay, he all the way back. Like, I'm excited.
Right.
Like, he all the way back. And that's yay, Mike.
I need to think of the timeline again, right?
It's probably a year apart.
Well, yeah, I know those were a year apart as far as like the food and when B came out. So I'm thinking,
I feel like that might have been a year apart too, Mike.
Was it? So the food was probably first.
Oh, the food might have came out like that fall or December, and we got B like that summer. It feels like.
So if that's the case,
the food preceded B, like definitely.
Right.
Maybe by a year, but at least 6 months.
If that's the case, maybe the food might have been the first song that they made, and they kind of made everything around that.
Mike, I don't remember because I was in the process. No, I was literally in the process of moving to Cali, like around that time that record was coming out, and like the corner dropped. But I remember hearing something of saying like the food was really the start of the sessions. Like that's when it started happening. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where it was like, no, let's.
And when you think about it, that is that song kind of sums up that whole direction of the album and where they were going, just telling the street tales on a different level. It was more that whole, I know I joke about this all the time, the struggle, the hustle, like that's Common's catchphrase now, but that was what that album encompassed.
B has a feeling. How about this? What B feels like, I've always said this, Mike, like, okay, so remember how I say like Good Kid, Mad City is the West Coast version of Illmatic?
Right.
B would be the Midwest version.
I agree with that. It's brilliant.
I mean, it's a classic of that type of order. Like, no. Like when I'm talking about Illmatic and Good Kid, Mad City and the vibe, and if you've been to those places and know the culture and know the people, like he's embodying like that's what I mean. Ye is important. He helped Common re-embody something about the city and the feel with that album. He got Common back in touch with the things that made him famous.
It sounds like a cold Chicago day, man. Like
it sounds classic. Like Mike, like It's Your World. They say like that feels Chi-Town. That Chi-Town, Mike.
Yo, my favorite or one of my favorite songs on there is Chi City. I love that shit.
Really? I rap with the passion of Christ, nigga. Cross me.
Took it out of space, and niggas thought they lost me. I'm back like a chiroprac and D-boy survival rap.
This ain't 94, we can't go back. You need a makeover.
My man retired. I'm gonna take over till these halftime niggas breaks over. But yeah, the production on that shit, man, it's beautiful, and they encompassed everything on the corner. I remember seeing the corner and being like, and you're right. In my mind, I'm like, yo, this was well after they performed the food. But I remember seeing the corner, and I was like, yo, this is gonna be something.
Mike, The Corner is one of my favorite rap songs ever.
So, with all these things being said, I think this is why Kanye West is as huge as he is, and he demands so much attention and praise from all generations. Because what we're talking about, he did with Common, he's done that with various artists.
Jay, Pusha T.
Yeah, Big Sean.
Kid
Cudi. There's a generation that swears by Kid Cudi. You know what I'm saying? And that's Ye's.
Mike, the generation younger than us, they swear by Cudi. That's Ye too.
Yep. Travis, he had something to do with that too. So yeah,
he all over the place,
imprint,
Mike.
And look,
his footprints in the sand are there. Yeah, the footprints.
The Carter
in the sand.
3, he's all over that.
Mike, let the beat build.
He's all over it. So yeah, he earned his spot as probably the most famous hip hop artist in the game. I mean, because when we look at people like Snoop Dogg's more of a personality. Obviously, he has his classics, but we know Snoop Dogg as he's probably the most famous name in hip hop, right? Everybody knows who Snoop Dogg is. But when we talk about the music,
you don't even gotta say Dog, Mike. You just gotta say Snoop.
Yeah. When you say Snoop, everybody knows who you're talking about. But I think as far as music, it's not what the attention that a Kanye West demands, right? Oh, somebody want to know about Dipset versus Locks. We covered that in another show. Has anything changed in your mind? I know this is really being hyped up. Jim Jones is really going at the locks right now. The locks done pulled up in Harlem and all that stuff. So yeah, the trash talking is at an epic proportion at this point.
No. I like that they're promoting it the right way, Mike, and that they're like doing all this. Like they're keeping it fun, they're keeping it entertaining, they're keeping it engaging, they're keeping it like on some old school rap shit. I really, really love it. I'm still picking the upset. I'm still picking Dipset.
I'm picking Dipset too.
I'm picking the upset.
Let me ask you this though, while we're talking about stuff like that. You heard the not Mickey Fact. Shout out to Mickey Facts, my guy. You heard the Royce da 5'9" and Lupe fiasco back and forth, right?
I did.
What were your thoughts? I know we talked about this last week.
You first.
Well, I made a prediction that based on how Lupe Fiasco was reacting in the video that we, started our show with last week, that I figured that I was leaning more towards Lupe, Lupe
Right.
seemed angry. I know Lupe's pedigree when it comes to writing.
Right.
I think that this is what I will say, and I have a whole lot to say about this, but to keep it short, what Lupe did a couple days ago was one of the more amazing things I've ever seen in a back and forth. And, I don't want to overreact. What he did when Royce put out the record, he put it up on his Instagram. Within an hour, Lupe went out there, memorized this man's verse, or most of it, or the first part of it, because it was a 7-minute record. Went and recorded it over Throw Some D's on that bitch, and then spit it, in my opinion, a little bit better than Royce, or just, or put his voice to it, and then came with something on top of that. And then after that, a couple of hours later, he puts out a 6-minute diss record. I think that this is game changing in a sense where we talk about the time that it's going to take people to respond. This is something that we're going to look back at when people are taking days, weeks to respond to diss records. What this nigga Lupe just did to Royce happened in a matter of hours. And I think that's one of the more impressive things I think I've ever heard. And it was a quality record too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you came, recorded something that just basically mimicked his. He did some karaoke shit. And none of the lyric websites had any of these lyrics out there or anything. And then you went back and recorded a brand new record. And it's like, dude, that's some next level shit. Really, at this point, I think Royce lost because where's the other record?
So there's a few things. Let's unpack a couple of them.
Go ahead.
First of all, Royce made a misstep, and he made the misstep that I feel like Jay made with the takeover. You want a battle? Focus your attention.
Yeah.
The Royce record is dope. The attention is not focused straight at Lupe.
Mm-hmm.
He's all over the place in a good way. It ain't like the Royce record ain't dope, Mike.
No.
He's spitting crazy. He not spitting at Lupe that much, though, just like when Jay did the takeover, he got one verse about Nas, but he got all these verses about Prodigy. It's like, no, dude, you got your focus misplaced. And just like with that record, and not like Royce not dope with it, the record was misplaced in terms of the focus, for one. And second of all, when you've been agitated in battle, you always let your agitator go first, and you respond. So there was a calculated misstep that happened with him going first, and then there was the misstep with the focus. And so there were a couple of mistakes that he made before Lupe even touched the mic.
Well, this is, not to cut you off, this is the biggest mistake with the subtle jabs and all that stuff. It's kind of like, Tom Brady was out there in New England. He would hit you with those little short passes to set you up for the big one, right? If you're going to come with some subtle jabs, you have to anticipate a full record coming at you, and then you got to have a full record coming back. That's what Jay didn't do when it came to the takeover and responded with Super Ugly. How do you not have something ready if Nas comes with an ether or something? And this is exactly what Royce didn't do, or he didn't think that it was going to happen at fucking
Disrespect.
lightning speed. He probably
Mike,
thought that this was going to take Lupe a couple
it's
of days or
ego.
something.
It's ego. That's
Yeah.
why I said, Mike, like ego will hurt you in battle.
Yeah.
It's the art of war, Mike. You better take your opponent seriously.
And you know what? It's so funny
Opponent
when
seriously.
Lupe in that footage when Lupe was telling him go practice, they were clowning Lupe for that. Murder Mook was like, nobody from the street says go practice. He was trying to warn you, man. You should have went and practiced.
No, he telling you like,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
loading my clip up.
He's like,
Loading my
listen,
clip up.
man.
Got bullets. Got bullets. Want one? Want two? Want the clip? Okay.
Yeah.
Let go.
And like I said last week, Lupe's been ready for this moment. I mean, he even called out Mos Def when it was time. And this is Mos Def. He's been ready for a moment like this.
So for me, like that's what I mean about the misstep. It's like I've always looked at Royce as somebody that respects the culture, and part of respecting the culture is in these moments and in battle. Oh, you must respect your opponent, even if you feel like you have the totality of the package. Because really, what Royce did on his record, and he didn't win, but he did do this. He explained the totality of his skills and his charisma. Like I told you, that I felt like, in my opinion, gave him an advantage. He expressed and delivered those things. Lupe can't make a record the way Royce made in terms of like how he did it and put it together and made it enjoyable consistently. And my thing is that Royce can do what Lupe did, but he didn't do it. You didn't do it. Why didn't you do it?
What do you think about Lupe's line when he said that you're missing classics? I've listened to your catalog. You're missing classics.
Mike, same thing could be said about the guy that said it. So,
but I mean, there are people again that swear by food and liquor, and right after he said that line,
Mike, the people who swear by food and liquor need to understand that the cool is better than food and liquor, and neither one of them are classics. So
I think the cool is better than food and liquor too. That was just my opinion.
It is. Go Gadget Flow, Dumb It Down. Like Go Gadget Flow and Dumb It Down is better than everything on food and liquor.
I think that Lupe has those moments like Mural where you're like, whoa, this guy is lyrically somewhere else.
No, Mike, so let's go to Mural. How the rest of the album sound outside of Mural?
I wasn't a big fan of the album personally, but I think that when
the album's not good.
But people love that. You know what album was good though? The album that he put out in 2018. Michael Sanders says The Cool is a classic. See, again, it depends on who you ask. Like Lupe,
it's a 4. It's a 4. It's a 4.
Lupe has, I think Lupe suffered from the fact that he was in between eras. You know what I'm saying? Like the era that he came out in, this was before the Cole and Kendricks, and this is when people were still hanging on to.
No. He switched up. That's what happened.
Lupe Fiasco go to sleep.
Food and Liquor and The Cool are both really, really solid 4s and really dope projects. He switched it up. It's like the game said. I stayed the same, didn't go weird like Lupe. That's what happened. Yeah.
I forgot that the game said that.
Yeah, the game said that. See, I stayed the same, didn't go weird like Lupe. Like the shit started getting too weird and too technical. That's what happened. So when he's making the classic comment, it's like, yeah, Royce might be missing classics. You missing the same damn classics. So I just kind of took that like, next.
Okay, I think that's a poll that we could put out there, man. I do think Food and Liquor, what album of Royce's would you put that against? Does Royce have a better album than Food and Liquor?
I mean, Mike, to be honest
I
with
am
you.
Pasco Rodriguez says Food and Liquor is a classic.
No, it's
Michael
not.
Sanders says The Cool is a classic. I don't know, man.
No, it's not. It didn't have classic status when it came out. It don't have classic status now. You're not about to tag it with classic status just because you feel that way. A classic is a classic.
You don't think things can become classic over time? Andre Shashir, shout out to Andre Shashir following us on YouTube. He says Food and Liquor is better
than The Cool?
Uh-huh. Michael Sanders says the production on The Cool is flawless.
I find the projects to be comparable. I find them both to be really dope projects. I don't find either one of them to be classics because they're not.
I think you're sleeping on The Cool. I mean, not The Cool. I think you're sleeping on Food and Liquor.
How about this? Name me 5 classic songs right now from each one of those albums.
Kick Push ain't a classic?
I said 5.
Go ahead and do it in the chat.
Classic. Like, hold on. So let's have this conversation right quick.
Let's
since
have
this is our first time on YouTube. When you have a classic album, you have classic songs, and the buy-in is 5. It's like when you sit at the blackjack table, or when you playing shooting dice or playing craps. You have to buy in. The buy-in on a classic is 5 classic songs. There are not 5 classic songs on either one of those albums. Run them down.
Okay, well, while everyone's getting together those 5 classic songs.
Hold on, Mike, because when it's a classic, you don't got to run it down. Illmatic, New York State of Mind, Life's a Bitch, The World Is Yours, Memory Lane, It Ain't Hard to Tell, Represent, We're Done. Aquemini,
no. Let's go further.
No, Mike, we can keep going. Aquemini, Skew It on the Barb, Rosa Parks, Spody Odie Dopalicious, The Art of Storytelling Part 1, Mamacita. Like, where you want me to go? Liberation.
What about Good Kid, Mad City? What are the 5 classic songs?
Ice Water, Glaciers of Ice, Ice Cream, Wu Gambinos. When it's a classic, you know the classic shit.
Well, what about Good Kid, Mad City? Good Kid, Mad City. What are the 5 classic songs on there?
Mike, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, Master Splinter's Daughter. Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe.
Oh, you just said that. You can't name that twice.
Hold on, what did I say? Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. Money Tree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You said Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe twice.
Oh, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. Money Trees. Real. Compton.
Compton's a classic?
Yeah, Compton's a classic.
That's a dope song. I don't know if that's a classic. But
hold on, Mike. We can go to Backseat Freestyle.
Okay.
Like I'm saying, when it's a classic, you can keep going. It's like, oh, you don't like those 5 songs? Got a few more for you. Food and Liquor and the Cool don't have that. Stop that. Like, you dudes need to start rearranging your feelings and understand that just because you feel like it's a classic, don't make that shit a classic.
I don't know, man. I think you might be sleeping on Food and Liquor, man. We'll put it out there, man, just to see what the people think.
Y'all ain't right, Mike. Y'all not riding around listening to the Cool or Food and Liquor. It's not a classic.
Honestly, I can't tell you the last time I listened to the Cool. But again, I think that
it's not, Mike. You want to know why? Because it's not a classic. That's why you haven't listened to it in a long time.
Oh my God.
That's why, Mike, because when it's a classic, you wake up one day and you like, yo, let me hear that shit. Or you'll hear a song play on your playlist and it's like, I got to hear that from beginning to end. It don't have that. Stop acting like
we got an answer to your question. Rodriguez was like, Kick Push, the instrumental, Daydreaming. Daydreaming's a good one. Real, The Cool, and the Emperor's soundtrack. I like the Emperor's soundtrack too. Andre Shashir says Compton ain't a classic.
Classics. All of those aren't classics, Mike.
Andre Shashir says that Compton ain't classic. This is what I will say. I think To Pimp a Butterfly is
okay. Mike, Peer Pressure. Like I said, Mike, when it's a classic, you can take it off. Go ahead and take Compton off. Put Peer Pressure on.
The Art of Peer Pressure is one of my favorite songs on that album.
Right. So, Mike, like I said, because it's a classic, so we can go ahead and take Compton off. Put Peer Pressure on next. The Cool and Food and Liquor don't have it like that.
So let me ask you this then.
Mike, on both of those projects, there's about 5 to 7 records that are good to great, and a couple of classic records. That's what it is.
Do you think that J. Cole has a better album than Food and Liquor?
Not necessarily. Now, Forest Hills Drive is better than Food and Liquor to me.
Forest Hills Drive, that's one that we could put up against it. I want to see what the people have to say on that.
I think that's fair.
I think that's fair too.
I would put Food and Liquor. How about this? I think The Cool and Food and Liquor are slightly behind Forest Hills Drive.
Does Royce have an album that you'll put up against Food and Liquor? What is Royce missing as an MC when it comes to putting together albums, in your opinion?
That's a fascinating question. I think brevity, though. I think he extends his players too long. His albums are too long.
His albums are too long. You know who else has that situation? What's his name? Oh my God. He was going back and forth with Logic. What is wrong with me? You know what I'm talking about.
I don't entertain people. Never mind. Go ahead.
You know who I'm talking about. But it'll come to me in a minute. Michael Sanders says, Coop, you are tripping, bro.
No, you're tripping because you haven't given me the record. I'm waiting to hear the classic records. Like between Food and Liquor and The Cool, there's like 6 or 7 classic records between the 2 albums.
Rodriguez admits that Forest Hill Drive is better than Food and Liquor, though.
Because it is.
Okay. All right. Well, what do you expect to happen next? What do you expect to happen next in this back and forth? Because Lupe just got on a live today because
Royce need to
Lupe.
get on his shit and stop making me look bad, Mike. That's what needs to happen. I went live and said that this nigga was gonna win. He needs to stop making me look bad, and he needs to
But I mean, do you
focus.
think he's gonna come with a whole nother record?
You want to know what? He ain't got no choice, Mike.
This is what's gonna happen when he comes with a whole nother record. Lupe's gonna come in a couple of hours again. This is the pace. He's trying to slow down the pace. That's what's going on right now. Because what happens then though? If you come with a whole record and then Lupe comes again with another quality response in hours, what do you do then? Because like you said, he messed up the order. He should have let Lupe go first. Now you're backtracking.
That was the biggest mistake. Now you're backtracking.
Yeah.
So Scarface has this line. I'm gonna try to quote it. It's on The Fix. He said, "I got an amazing record, 47-5, and the nigga that beat me every time I woke up the next day, he had to see me." So it's like when a nigga whoop you, like where I'm from, you got to get up and keep fighting until you whoop that nigga. So I suggest he get his ass up.
I guess that's what Lupe meant when he said get the practice.
I don't know. I mean, no, I'm just from a place where it's like you can take that L if you want to, or you can stand up another day and fight, and you might take another L. You need to get up the next day and fight again, and the day after that and fight again, and the day after that and fight again. So you done pick the fight.
Yeah.
So motherfucking fight.
Does Marshall jump in?
No, fuck no, that looks bad.
I mean, he always jumps in Marshall's stuff.
No,
right?
He need to stay on the sideline, and Royce need to focus in and go handle this shit. Fuck all that.
Okay. Do you think Marshall could do anything?
Hey, look here, real talk, Mike. He called that man a bitch live. Go handle it.
He did.
He did. You called that man a bitch.
Mm-hmm. He did.
He called that man a bitch, did he not?
Yeah, and that's when the conversation was over.
That's when the conversation was over, because that's the thing, Mike. You know us as men. Oh, you calling me a bitch? Let's go then, nigga.
Right,
let's go. So Lupe went into let's go mode.
Yeah.
And so I suggest you get in let's go mode because you called that man a bitch. He said let's go, and then he roasted your ass in round one. So let's go.
This is the thing about Lupe to me, and I've always felt like this, even with some of the comments that Lupe's made about Kendrick Lamar and and him just not being impressed. I think that Lupe is so skilled and so talented. He's one of those guys that's looking at the rest of the playing board like, these are the guys that people are impressed by. I'm better than these guys. And
so not better than Kendrick, and he didn't say he was better than Kendrick.
But you know what I mean. I think he knows.
No. He went back and made another comment, Mike. No, I remember when he did that. He went back and made another comment, and he said, Kendrick is better at making songs and albums than I am. I said I was a better lyricist. And so he's right about those things. And even let's go to the Kendrick reference and how intelligent Lupe is. Kendrick's folks are from Chicago. You can hear it in his flow. So can Lupe. That's why he used Kendrick's as a reference point.
Yeah.
That's how intelligent Lupe is. He didn't pull no random rapper. He pulled somebody that stylistically, he can hear the Chi-Town in it. I told you, Mike, when you hear Good Kid, Mad City, when you listen to Kendrick's delivery, it's not till you listening to Real with his mama talking and she's like, we from Chi-Town. We like the step. I'm like, that's the rapid fire flow. Yeah. Because that's not Compton.
Exactly. No, that's not West Coast at all.
It too. So even when he's comparing himself to Kendrick, he's looking stylistically like, no, he got some of my patternization and flow inherently from where his people come from. Lupe's a thinker like that.
Exactly. And I think that, and I don't know, but I think that Lupe is just so talented, so lyrically skilled. He doesn't feel like he gets his just due in these conversations because that's how this whole thing started, because of those ranking conversations. And any opportunity that he can jump in there and show people what's what, he's willing to take it. That's where that Mos Def thing came from too. It's like, okay, man, I'm willing to jump out there.
So let's jump to Mos Def right quick. Black on Both Sides better than all of Lupe's best shit, ain't it?
It is.
Without question.
Yeah.
And so the problem ain't Lupe's spit game. We talking about what the problem is. So he needs to understand that what he's doing isn't about to garner him anything more. What he needs to do is go make the album that reflects those things. That's what he hasn't done. What he's doing right now, Mike, even though I picked Royce, I'm not surprised that Lupe bodied him Ain't nobody say you didn't have the capability to do that. I'm gonna tell you when I knew Lupe was a problem is when he said his favorite Nas song was "Take It in Blood." I'm like, oh, he's straight bars.
He's
Straight bars.
he's listening, man. He's
listening.
yeah.
He's listening. It's like, oh, that's your favorite Nas song. It's like, oh, you a bar nigga.
He's a
like,
lyricist.
Bars
point
of the
blank
lyrics
period.
of the high order. So what you're doing, although it might be impressive, although you might win, it's not taking you up higher on any list because what he needs to do.
There's not a lyricist list.
I mean, Mike, where is he as a lyricist? I have him up high.
I think he's very high as a lyricist. Like I said, when he went out there and memorized Royce's,
do you think he's a top 10 lyricist?
In a vacuum?
In a vacuum, yes. That's not a question.
In a vacuum, yes. Yes.
Okay, so Mike, here's the problem.
And kind of like that Black Thought vacuum, right?
No, Mike, no, it's not a Black Thought vacuum. He's not Thought.
No, but you know what I mean.
Mike, the Roots have made classics. Lupe's not made classics. He's not Thought.
Well, there are people who feel like he has made classics. Michael Sanders says Royce needs to...
Mike, those people are wrong. Mike, those people are wrong and haven't given me 5 classic songs yet, so they need to stop saying that.
Well, they're telling you to go listen to Lupe's Go to Sleep. Major sleep, pun intended. Y'all need to listen to Lupe. Go to Sleep. Major sleep.
Where the classic albums at, Mike? Because I told you, Mike. I told you, Mike. All Black Thought needed was to make a dope project because he's already made classic material, and it's not a question of who he is as an MC. I'm gonna tell you what. My good friend Andrew Thomason hit me up today. Andrew and I ran our high school yearbook. I mean, not yearbook, newspaper together.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew's white. He sent me this page from this guy that they were having this conversation about the MC that you would take for your life. Me and Andrew took the same guy, Mike. Who you think the guy is? Like right now, if you would take a guy and the reality and the fate of the earth rested on it and rested on the MC, who would you rest it on?
Well, Black Thought? Is that who you got? You know what? I think that, man, the Black Thought and Lupe fiasco.
Mike, there are whole chats going on where it's like, if you had an MC right now and your life was on the line, who are you taking? Thought. So he not Thought. So he not that. And Thought's not somebody that's made classic solo material, and he's still not Thought. So what I'm saying is that what he doing ain't about to take him higher.
Okay, and so we got an update. I don't mean to interrupt you, but Mr. Positive Vibes says the album is finished and under the mixing stages. Respectfully, Chris. A producer on Donda said the album will be completed within 4 hours tops. So we should be hearing this tonight sometime.
So Mike, what did I tell you about the engineering and how from what I heard, I felt like it needed to be what?
Mixed.
Engineering, sound quality wise. Yeah.
I was going to ask you about the sound quality in the arena. Rodriguez said, in my opinion, To Pimp a Butterfly is better than Good Kid, Mad City. My opinion, too. I agree with that.
And I'm going to tell all of you all that say that, you all don't play To Pimp a Butterfly. You play Good Kid, Mad City.
And I'm gonna repeat what I've said about To Pimp a Butterfly.
I listened to Section 80 the other day. Y'all play Section 80 in Good Kid, Mad City more than you play To Pimp a Butterfly. I was riding the Section 80.
I like Section 80, but I don't play it from beginning to end. I play select songs from it. To Pimp a Butterfly, I'll listen to, All Right. I'll listen to These Walls. I'll listen to Black of the Berry. I'll listen to Hood Politics. I'll listen to You Ain't Got a Lie to Kick It. That album is brilliant.
No, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
I don't think he's going to make a better album than that. Let me go ahead and just say that. I don't think Kendrick Lamar is going to make a better album.
He did not. The album before.
It's not. I don't listen to Good Kid, Mad City. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't.
Mike, Mike, hold on, Mike. Let's run it down right quick. What's the 5 best songs on To Pimp a Butterfly?
Oh man, we really gonna do that right now? All right, we'll do that. The 5 best songs on that album.
I'm sick of people saying To Pimp a Butterfly is better when they don't listen to that shit. But you listen to Good Kid, Mad City.
I listen to Pimp a Butterfly. I will name the best 5 songs on there. I'm gonna say These Walls. I'm going to say Black of the Berry. I'm going to say, this is tough, man. Hood Politics. Just off the top of my head. You Ain't Got a Lie to Kick It. What's the final one I'm gonna pick? I'm not gonna pick Mortal Man. I could.
You could.
It's such a brilliant album, man.
It's a brilliant
I
album.
could pick What a Dollar Costs. All those songs that I named are better.
How much a dollar cost would be my number one pick off that album? Just for reference.
And I didn't even pick All Right. I think All Right's better than any single that's on the first on Good Kid, Mad City.
No, it's not, Mike, because All Right's not better than Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe.
All Right's better than Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe. I'm sorry, it is. 20 of them in my shade, telling all to come and get me, reaping everything I sold. Some are coming heavy, no preliminary lyrics. Some are heavy. I'm a motherfucking gangster. Silence for the record.
On the hook,
come
I'm
on,
a sinner
man.
who's probably going to sin again. Lord, forgive me for the things I don't understand. Sometimes I need to be alone. Bitch, don't kill my vibe.
I like Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, but
stop that. Y'all need to stop that. And understand what you're listening to. Understand the difference between a dope song and something innovatively genius.
You think that Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe is innovatively genius?
Mike, I'm going to say the bars again. I am a sinner who's probably going to sin again. Lord, forgive me for the things I don't understand. Sometimes I need to be alone. And then he flips it and goes, bitch, don't kill my vibe. That's genius. How you go from being biblical to being hood on the hook on a flip. That's genius.
Wesley's Theory is an amazing intro, and I agree with that as well. Wesley's Theory is amazing.
I like Wesley's Theory.
To Pimp a Butterfly is better than Good
Wesley's
Kid, Mad City.
Theory is not better than Real.
The only misstep to me on To Pimp a Butterfly, the only misstep is that King Kunta. I ain't feeling that record. I must admit, that's a misstep.
The beat could have been better.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're going to be looking forward to hearing this Donda album. Any closing thoughts when it comes to the experience you had at the Kanye West event the other night?
Kanye hasn't made a great album since My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. When did that come out?
That came out in 2010. Okay.
So it's been over a decade.
What do you expect from this? Do you expect the classic? Do you expect the album of the year? I know you kind of...
That's what I keep trying to tell you. If it's not a classic, don't be surprised.
Okay.
When the last time Jay made a classic, Mike?
Last time Jay-Z made a classic was the Black Album.
Last time Nas made a classic.
Ooh. If you ask me... You're asking the wrong person.
Right. I'm asking the wrong person. I still want your answer, Mike.
If you ask me, the last time he made a classic.
Stillmatic?
I think Stillmatic's debatable. I don't know if Stillmatic's a classic. I know it's his second or third best album. Do you have Stillmatic better than It Was Written?
Mike, no. A guy that's in the conversation to be the greatest MC of all time, you're talking about his second or third best album might be a classic. You need to stop.
Is Stillmatic a classic to you?
Mike, the only thing about it that keeps it from being flawless is Braveheart Party. And they literally re-released it and took it off about that.
My feelings on Stillmatic and its classic status, I feel like the back and forth with Jay-Z and the Blueprint kind of heighten the legacy of that effort. It's a great comeback album.
Mike, I've told you this, Mike. The first 10 tracks on Stillmatic are better than the first 10 tracks on the Blueprint. Song for song, if you lay them out, they're better.
Okay, you know what? I'll say Stillmatic. I'll give Stillmatic classic status.
Yeah,
but
man.
Again, just by, your standards and everything that you just said about certain efforts, I don't really play that album much anymore. I don't.
Oh, I mean, Mike.
It's not my go-to when it comes to Nas.
No. So understand this. Most of the classic albums, even the stuff that you see sitting behind me, Mike, I rarely play these albums anymore. These albums are old.
But you don't have Stillmatic. You don't have Stillmatic on your wall. But people in the chat are saying Stillmatic.
Mike, I don't even have Reasonable Doubt or the Blueprint on my wall, so that's not fair.
We got Mr. Positive Vibe says, what? You don't like The Life of Pablo? I like The Life of Pablo a lot. Actually.
First of all, me and Ron had this conversation last night. And I'm going to tell you, and I did the same thing with Ron last night that I just did to our guest that didn't give me any valid responses. Name me 5 classic tracks. It's like, where are the records at? I didn't even ask Ron to name me 5 classic tracks. I asked him to name me 5 great records off.
You don't like No More Parties in L.A.?
He gave me that one. I like No More Parties in L.A. That's probably the best song on there.
You don't like 30 Hours?
I don't like 30 Hours.
30 Hours is great. That's actually my favorite song on there.
I don't think that's great, Mike. I think that's solid.
That song's dope. You don't like Yeezy Jumped Over Jumpman, huh? Oh, that shit was hard too. You don't like Fade?
Fade is hard.
Yeah. Come
Fade
on now. Hard. He got some joints on the Life of Pablo.
Yeah, he got like 3 or 4 joints on there. And that's the how intro. Treat the album. I treat the album like he got 3 or 4 joints on there, Mike.
Waves. Yeah, Mr. Positive's like Waves. Yeah, that's on there.
Waves was solid.
Yeah. And you got obviously the intro. It's a beautiful morning in the morning.
So these records so y'all giving me these records for the guy that made The College Dropout, Late Registration, Graduation, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Y'all better stop that.
Wolves, St. Pablo, Fade.
None of those records y'all named are even touching that stuff. Y'all should be embarrassed that y'all even tried to do that. It's embarrassing.
It's the evolution. It's the evolution of an artist.
No, it's been a 10-year drop off, Mike.
And Famous. So I was gonna say Famous, y'all. You know
Famous
what? That whole stanza when he goes from the intro and goes to the I got broads in Atlanta and then goes to Famous, like that whole collage of those 3 records is so fire. It's seamless. It's beautiful. I got to give it to him.
Mike, the last 10 years of music from him have been unimpressive. Stop.
I was impressed by the Life of Pablo. I'm sorry, I was.
Not impressive. It's a 3.5. Mike. It's a 3.5.
No,
it's got 3 or 4 good songs, and the rest of that shit is throwaways. Toss that shit.
It's a 4 at least. I mean,
no, it's not a 4
No
at least.
More Parties in LA is brilliant.
What are y'all listening to? Like, what are y'all listening to? That shit. Mike, go play. Graduation is his 4th best album. Go play The Life of Pablo against Graduation, against his 4th best album. It's a severe drop off from Graduation. Y'all are bugging. He hasn't made really dope shit in a decade. He's been making solid shit. Y'all have been giving him a pass.
Rodriguez says that Yeezus.
Y'all keep trying to co-sign these okay records.
Rodriguez says that. Hold on. Rodriguez says that Yeezus is a classic, especially everything that happened during that time.
First of all, he lost all credibility when he said that. I want him to never, ever.
I have a good friend. I have a good friend that says Yeezus is a classic as well. Mike, so Kanye has those
on the
records.
Leads, Mike. The rest of it is trash.
I'm going to go back and listen to Yeezus.
Go back and listen to it. I don't know why, but go ahead. I remember when I bought Yeezus, the little clear CD and all that. I remember when I played it. And then I played it again to give him a shot. And then I played it a 3rd time to make sure I wasn't tripping. And then it sat there where it belonged to sit. Because outside of Blood on the Leaves, that shit is trash.
Well, let's go ahead and end on that note. Because I'm sure that this new Kanye is dropping very, very soon. And Mike, we're going to keep our ears open.
We can't believe that either, Mike. We can't believe that. We can't believe that either.
All right.
Don't believe that. Don't let them gas you up. Yeah, we here right now. We mixing. Don't believe that shit, Mike.
I predict it to come out tomorrow at least. All right, brother.
Tomorrow around noon might be more feasible. That 4 hours, like, ain't nobody trying to. We don't believe y'all already. It's supposed to come out today.
Well, it was great being on YouTube, man. You know, shout out to everybody in the YouTube following. Make sure you subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And yeah, I think we should do the show live here from now on, man. We love the audience here. And yeah, tell a friend so y'all can come in here and let Coop know that Lupe Fiasco got classics.
No, I mean, first of all, he doesn't. You all have no proof. You haven't provided any proof. You need to provide some proof. I want to let you all know on Saturdays, I go back in the comments and see who says what. When you pop back up, I'm going to remind you that you didn't provide me with any classics. Provided me with some solid material. It's appreciated. But that shit ain't classic what Lupe been doing. He want, like Mike, he want that top 10 lyricist respect. Go make the classics, because here's what I'm saying. You have guys that lyrically he's better than, like a Scarface or Ice Cube. Ain't nobody about to call you a better lyricist than them, because those lyricists know how to put together great songs, great albums, and do it over a duration of time. Stop, Mike, he in a box.
Food and liquor. I'm going to go listen to it.
You want to be, no. You want to be the best in that box, that's fine. But understand, like, top 10 dudes do everything, Mike.
They say Coop is tripping tonight.
No, I ain't tripping tonight, Mike. Don't be calling Mike. Y'all
That's
don't play
what
Food and Liquor of the Cool. You don't.
I
You
don't.
don't.
I'm gonna go back and listen to it though, just to see if I'm tripping or not, like I did with the Marshall Mathers LP.
Mike, and when you come back, and when all of y'all come back, and y'all can't give me 5 classic records off of either one of these albums, y'all can't give me 5 classic records,
and we'll
Mike,
update it next week. How about that?
Yeah, no. I want that smoke. Y'all done call Food and Liquor and the Cool a classic. Like, hey, whatever it is that y'all are smoking, you can DM me. Give you my address. I want to get up on that wave because y'all fucking tripping, not me. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping about that. Like Mike, even when Mike, Food and Liquor, I believe got 3.5 mics in the source. Like the Cool, the Cool got like 4 mics. Like that was about appropriate. Like that was one of the times they got stuff right. Go back and read those reviews. Go read those missteps. Those missteps are still real.
Let's do some revisiting. All right, man. I'll holla at you.
Mural was great. Mural was brilliant.
Brilliant.